Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Adorable Distance 15 and it's titled, Am I the Arsehole for ordering pizza at my friend's wedding because there was no food? Me and my wife were invited to my friend's wedding. The wedding was going to have about 70 people, with mostly family. When we got there, we were seated at a table with some other people. Nice people, and we mingled well and had a good time chatting. The wedding was also quite nice. Both my friend and his new wife were very happy. After the ceremony, everybody got 2 bottles of wine, bread and butter, and there was also an open bar. So we started having a few drinks. Then the food came out. It looked really good. The food setup was for a buffet. I was half buzzed and looking forward to getting some food in my belly. When it was time to eat, every few tables at the time were going to get called, which is fine. The first few tables that were called were understandably the family of both sides. Then the rest were. The problem was that the family members, his in-laws, are larger people. Now, I don't shame people for how much they eat, but I noticed the helpings of food they had while I was patiently waiting for us to be called. I also noticed they went for seconds before all the tables were called and no one stopped them. I didn't say anything, though I thought that was rude. I just assumed that there was just a lot of food. To my surprise, by the time we were called, there was nothing left. I asked if there was more coming out and apparently that already occurred. So we grabbed the little we could, went back to sit down and ate the scraps. We were all still pretty hungry and a bit pissed off, so we kind of bash talked that the first few tables ate all the food. Someone mentioned that they could go for some pizza, and then I had the drunken idea of ordering some, lol. So that is what we did. We all pitched in and ordered 4 large pizzas and some chicken wings from a local pizza joint close to the venue, so it didn't take long to be delivered. I met the guy outside and brought the food to our table and we started to eat. Some of the other tables noticed and asked where the pizza came from. Apparently some of the other tables close to ours didn't get any food either, so we shared with them. This caused some commotion because other people were looking for and asking the wedding party if there was pizza available. I guess there were others that didn't get to eat either. We did share with anyone who asked us. My friend came to talk to me about why I ordered the food. His bride was not happy about it. It ruined the aesthetics. So I told him that we didn't get to eat, that the food ran out long before our table was called, and we were really hungry. Then he asked why we didn't just step out and eat and then come back. Though annoyed about that, I respectively explained to him that we were all drinking on an empty stomach and that it probably wasn't the best idea to have drunk people walking around looking for food. I don't think he liked that, but went back to his bride who was glaring at us. Like, what were we supposed to do? Starve? This wasn't the end though. As we were finishing eating, one of the in-laws came to our table and he asked where the pizza came from. This is where I may be the arsehole. There were 2 slices left. I knew he was eyeing them. I asked the other people at my table if they wanted one. Everyone declined. This guy then said he'd have one. I then took the 2 slices, I put them on my plate and started to eat them. Then looked at him and said something like, "No, you and everyone else at your tables had way more than your fair share of the buffet and ate all of it. This is the reason we ordered the food in the first place, and now you have the nerve to ask us to share." His face went red and he returned to his table. There was a lot of discussion going on there. They were all looking back at us with daggers. The bride looked even more ticked off at us. She had a bit of an argument with my friend. He eventually came back to tell us we had to leave. I didn't mean to start any problems, so me and my wife called a cab and left. He called me a few days later and we had a long talk. I explained my perspective and he agreed that his in-laws were really rude for eating all the food and leaving most of the other guests with very little. A lot of people actually complained to him about it. Everyone was drinking thinking that there would be food and they were disappointed. He was upset with his in-laws because he told them how many guests there would be and to order the food for that many people. He also saw how much they were taking but assumed they ordered enough. He was wrong. He brought this up with his wife and she said that apparently because the in-laws paid for the alcohol and the food, they felt entitled to eat what they wanted. She was really mad at them and reamed them out for tainting her special day. He also said a lot of the other non-family guests started to leave soon after we left because they too were hungry. They still had fun celebrating, but it did kind of put a downer on their special day. Out of 70 people, about 30 left. I also found out the guy that came to our table was his father-in-law. Father-in-law was really embarrassed by what I said to him. He felt pretty bad when he found out close to half the guests didn't get to eat anything and left early. So, am I the arsehole? Edit. My goodness, I didn't think I was going to get this kind of response, lol. So many comments. I went through a good chunk of the messages and thought it'd be easier to address the common ones here. 1. The only reason I ordered the pizzas was because I was drinking. All I ate that day was a sandwich for lunch and some bread that was at the table. So I needed something more substantial in my stomach so I wouldn't get sick. So no, I couldn't wait it out a few hours. I wasn't the only person drinking either because the open bar was booming. However, I guess I could have held back on drinking a bit until the food came out. 2. Those saying that I fat shamed the father-in-law, I'm going to have to disagree. I didn't say anything to him about his body. I was only honest with him about why I had to order the food. I don't judge people based on looks and accept everyone for who they are, as they are. You can't judge a book by its cover, so I judge people based on their actions. If you knew me, you would see that my friend group ranges from basic people to freaks and weirdos, lol. In fact, a good friend of mine nicknamed Crusher is a big dude. Absolutely hilarious and super fun to hang out with. 3. This is not an AI-generated post. My intelligence may be limited, but there is nothing artificial about it. 4. The buffet was at my friend's request. He loves buffets and this was his added touch to the wedding. He also chose the dishes. I know that it's not common for weddings to do buffets, but that's what he wanted. Thanks everyone for your comments. We'll continue to read them and update this thread accordingly. So a commenter says to OP, a family member had a similar sized wedding a while back. The caterer handed out the same portions to everybody the first time through so that everybody got fed. Seconds were a free-for-all. Later in the night, a table full of personal-sized pizzas. We were eating pizza for a week after the fact. Johnny Perp says, can't believe the father-in-law asked for pizza. Commenter replied saying, funny how they noticed the pizza but were apparently oblivious as to why it was necessary for it to be ordered. Another one says, not the arsehole, you don't go for seconds until all the tables have been called. Another one says, yeah, this is nuts to me. Bride has no reason to be upset at friends. 1. It was her own family that ordered food and took unreasonably large servings. 2. She could have anticipated the issue knowing her family by having caterers serve portion mains at the very least. 3. She may not have noticed her family going through line twice before tables were called, but this is totally on her family. 4. This is not the first wedding to run out of food. It would have taken less than the cost of tipping the caterers to order some cheap Domino's pizzas. Drunk people don't care, they just need food. 5. The rest of the guests who left didn't leave due to the pizza. They left because the bride and groom got pissy instead of being flexible and putting a plan in place to feed their guests. Another one says, not the arsehole. There is no reason other tables should have had seconds before you had first. I can understand miscalculating how much food would be needed, but they didn't even try to triage. Another one says no. For a wedding buffet, always order more than what's needed. The in-laws are the arseholes here. You could have handled it better with the pizza, but half the freaking people there didn't get food. That sounds like more than a big people got seconds problem. So there's a couple of updates to this one. The first one says, hey guys, I already have an update. First, I never stated when the wedding happened. The wedding was last week on July 20th. My friend just stopped by for a little bit. Apparently his wife was more upset than he initially said, but not at me, towards her family. He also said she wanted apologies for booting me. So father-in-law feels really bad and he is going to step up and try and fix the situation. He's going to throw an after-wedding shindig. Lol, his words. Everyone who was at the wedding will be invited, including me, my wife and some additional people. They're thinking there will be about 100 guests. Father-in-law also promised that there will be an assortment of food, more than enough for everyone plus an army. Lol. He also wanted to personally let me know that there will be 50 large pizzas from the same joint I ordered from. That is his way of adding some humor to the situation. I think it's pretty funny, lol. He's going to hire a DJ or a live band, possibly have some fireworks and arrange other events like axe throwing and a bonfire. This actually sounds like it's going to be a really fun time. The only difference is that it will be a bring your own bottle event, which is no big deal. Father-in-law is pulling in a favor from a friend who owns a farm. The farm has 2 guest houses and the main house, as well as plenty of space outside. About 50 people can be squeezed in between the 3 houses, so he's going to encourage people to bring RVs. I have one, campers and tents if they can. Nothing is official yet, but they're looking to hold a shindig around mid-August. Sounds like this is going to be a blast. I'll update you all when I can. It was about 6 months after this that OP comes in with their final update, which was titled, "I'm super sorry for not updating sooner. I meant to sooner, but I'm going to be a dad." After the wedding fiasco, we got invites from my friend's father-in-law to the after-wedding shindig. It took a while, so I honestly thought it was a joke at first. But my friend, the groom, who dropped them off said it's happening. Just took a while to organize it. The invites mentioned food, drinks, activities, and a lot of pizza. I wasn't sure what to expect, but my wife and I decided to go. It was in mid-September, and the weather was absolutely perfect with clear skies, warm sun, and a bit breezy. When we arrived, we saw the setup and was blown away. The event was on this massive farm owned by the friend of the father-in-law. There were RVs, campers, and tents scattered everywhere. It looked like some kind of mini music festival. The main house and 2 guest houses were open for people who didn't want to camp, and the yard was filled with picnic tables, lawn games, and a huge bonfire pit. As soon as we parked, the father-in-law greeted us. He was wearing this ridiculously loud Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses, grinning like he'd won the lottery. He shook my hand and said, "I'm glad you're here. There's plenty of food this time." I couldn't help but laugh. The food setup was insane. There was long tables covered with barbecue, all kinds of sides, desserts, and front and center a pyramid of pizza boxes. I'm not kidding. Had to be at least 50 large pizzas from the same place I ordered from at the wedding. Each box had a sticker that said "Shindig Special" on it. Everyone was already joking about it. People started showing up in droves. A lot of people brought their own coolers full of beer since it was bring your own bottle. And others even joined in the pizza theme. Lol, someone even wore a pizza print dress. Another guy had a pizza-shaped hat. And there were pizza cookies on one of the dessert tables. It was hilarious. The vibe was light-hearted and fun, and honestly, it was way better atmosphere than at the wedding. There was so much going on. The axe throwing, cornhole, live music, and even some fireworks set up for later. The father-in-law was wandering around, handing out slices of pizza like it was his personal mission to make sure no one went hungry. My friend, the groom, found me and pulled me aside. He had a beer in one hand and slapped me on the back with the other. He thanked me and told me if I hadn't ordered that pizza, we probably wouldn't be here right now. As the day went on, everyone seemed to be having a blast. The bride even gave a little speech. She thanked everyone for coming, then pointed at me and said, "And a special thanks to the guy who turned a wedding mishap into a shindig we'll never forget." People laughed and clapped, and I felt a bit embarrassed but also kind of proud. The night ended with lots of fireworks and everyone gathering around the bonfire roasting marshmallows and sausages. People were drinking, singing, and telling stories. It felt like a proper celebration, and I couldn't help but think this is how the wedding should have been. Father-in-law came up to me near the end of the night with a slice of pizza on a plate. He said he wasn't sure how to make up for the mess they made at the wedding, but thought this did the trick. I shook his hand and smiled, and said this party was a hit. All in all, the shindig turned out to be one of the most memorable events I've ever been to. Everyone left full, happy, and with plenty of stories to tell. It's funny how a simple thing like ordering pizza at a wedding turned into something this big. But hey, I guess that's just how life goes sometimes. That's the update, guys. Just wanted to thank everyone for their comments. Actually never thought this post would blow up like this. On another note, baby's due in May, so I'm pretty sure the night of the shindig, he and she was conceived. Wink wink. Commenter says on the end of this is a great story. We all make mistakes. The father-in-law, but he really showed class in how he handled things afterwards with putting together the big shindig and having such a great sense of humor. Bravo to him. There's a lot of people on the back of this one doubting the story as well, but also many people saying that it turned into a pretty wholesome event after all of this. Father-in-law stepping up and making right what went wrong at the wedding itself. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Relationship Advice subreddit. It's titled, "I 25 female just got dumped by my 29 male boyfriend. He's now dating his best friend 28 female of 10 years. Sorry if this is long, but want to detail accurately. I just went through a breakup and my ex is now with his best friend. Had always had reservations with their friendship. She was always overly flirty with him and would stake her claim on him through passive-aggressive comments. I brought it up once in a cool-like manner and he just said that's how she is with everyone. I let it slide for about a year because I didn't want to come off as insecure. Most men don't pick up on how women can be passive-aggressive towards each other, so I figured I'd take the high road and ignore her. He also never gave me a reason to even think that he'd thought of her like that. However, she threw him a surprise birthday party, a week before his actual birthday, and did not tell me or invite me. He was confused as to why I wasn't there, and she told him that I did not like his friends and refused to attend. He called me while he was there and drunkenly expressed how sad he was about my behavior. I could hear his best friend in the back basically cackling and yelling at him to not give me any more attention, and that was a horrible girlfriend. The next day I tried calling him but got straight to voicemail. My text went straight to green also, so I was sure he blocked me. Luckily, I'm close friends with his sister, who coincidentally was also not invited to the surprise party. The best friend doesn't like his sister. His sister told my boyfriend everything from my point, but his best friend swears she invited me and sent me and his sister the paperless post, and it must have been an accident or mishap. After that day, he started acting really distant towards me. I asked him if anything was going on with his best friend. He said no. He loved me and he understood that the whole party thing was an accident. I tried to remain calm and told him that I don't like the idea of his friends thinking I dislike them, and even said maybe I should reach out to her and we could grab a coffee. He was all for it, but she never texted me back. I made sure not to say anything negative about his best friend and ultimately told him I agree it must have been an accident, which I didn't think at all. 2 weeks later, he's still distant during that time. He sits me down and says it's over after 2 years. I was calm but asked what triggered this, and asked if his best friend had anything to do with the breakup. He said that yes, she did, but he promised nothing physical happened with them while we were dating, but that he had developed feelings. He said that it just happened. They've been friends for over 10 years, so why didn't they date before? He never said he thought of her romantically until a few weeks ago. Afterwards, she made it very public that she won and that I'm a loser, and thank God their friend group doesn't have to deal with my toxic behavior anymore, which I don't even care about. She's lesser than me and it's very clear by her actions. I actually bumped into a couple of his friends at the bar a few weeks after we broke up, male-female couple, and they mentioned how they and several of their friends were bummed that we broke up because they thought I was fun and sweet and loved having me around. It definitely wasn't a conversation with nice pleasantries. I could tell they were genuine. I just don't understand how feelings can change in such a short amount of time since they've been friends for 10 years. 1 week after we broke up, he's dating his best friend and they're completely in love. I'm very hurt, but just trying to see it from another point of view since my ex won't really explain to me or go into detail on how he all of a sudden fell in love. In my opinion, falling in love isn't so easy. You have to continually interact emotionally and romantically with another person to get there, which in my mind is a form of cheating. He was just so nice and proper during the relationship as well as during the breakup. It was completely respectful, as much as it could be. I just don't understand. How do these things happen? I have guy friends that I would never think to date, or more so speak to in romantic sense, wherein it's a possibility to fall in love. Thoughts? I genuinely do think his feelings changed and he wanted to explore another relationship, and that he was really contemplating it for a couple of weeks before making a decision. Not sure what the antithesis was, but it obviously happened at this surprise party I wasn't invited to. I don't really want to hear the whole "he's an arsehole, you're better off without him" comments. We're broken up and done with, and I'm moving on. Just trying to figure out if other people have been in the same situation and how this sort of thing happens. I personally think OP's getting way too hung up on the "it happened so fast" part when, I think we can all agree, well, I think most of us could anyway, it almost certainly didn't. Maybe, he's only admitted his feelings a few weeks before the breakup, but the best friend's behavior is, it's just screaming someone that's been waiting for this for a long time, not inviting OP to the party, lying about it, isolating him from his sister, calling OP a terrible girlfriend. It just goes on, right? And after this all happened, she's immediately going to social media and saying what she won and calling OP a loser. And obviously I don't know if there was physical cheating, but it certainly comes across as emotional cheating long before the breakup, in my opinion. A commenter said to OP, he cheated on you with her on that birthday party and has been avoiding you. It happened because he felt flattered by her attention. Don't think he didn't notice. He noticed and didn't care how it affected you. Now she's won him. The chase is over and she'll get sick of him. Give it a 1.5 years max. Edit, and it'll end with her cheating on him because she likes the thrill. probably with another taken man, so just buy yourself some popcorn and wait until his sister calls you and tells you, girl, you want to know something juicy. Opie says, yeah, I agree. She's a shit stirrer for a reason and will get bored of him and move on. He's very laid back and 8 times out of 10 wants to stay home instead of going out. I'm a homebody as well, so that never bothered me, but it's not her style. She craves attention. Commenter says, that's just how life happens sometimes. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to love. The surprise party in his mind probably flipped the switch for him, and she got more aggressive in pursuing him. 2 years together is a good amount of time, but honestly, it's not the longest relationship. Things can definitely still change. You missed some good red flags in the very beginning with her behavior, honestly. You also should have been more strong in your reaction to this surprise party. I would have flipped a goddamn shit if that happened. Opie says, oh, I 100% knew that this girl was manipulative and sketchy from the beginning. I just figured, okay, I brought it up once and he was pretty nonchalant about it. Not in a secretive way, but in an indifferent way. I figured, let the girl dig her own grave. I'll be above it and non-confrontational. Didn't work out in my favor, obviously. Commenter says she played the long game and aggressively while you were passive. You didn't set up boundaries. I would have shown up to that surprise party. I'm sure you could have found out where it was. I'm sure she was talking shit about you all night, and he really liked the attention. An effort to put in to throw him this big surprise party. He started looking at her differently at the party, possibly hooked up there. That's when the switch flipped for him, but you kinda know that already. I'm sorry, they're both grimy. Opie says, honestly, I've seen friends that had sort of similar situation with their boyfriend and girl best friend, albeit it didn't end up like my situation with them dating. The accusations they made were used against them, like they were crazy, didn't have trust, imagining things. Well, where's the middle ground? Because if I had brought up anything during that period where he didn't think anything romantically of her, I looked jealous and crazy. I tested the waters on the subject, and he was very disinterested about her, so I figured she was crazy and would be her own downfall. Hindsight is 20/20, I suppose. One more commenter says to OP, people will say men and women can be BFFs with no problem. I don't subscribe to it, because one of the friends wants the other, and friend 1 is only friends with friend 2 because friend 2 doesn't see friend 1 romantically, so friend 1 sticks around either hoping or just accepting the friendship. People can call me controlling or insecure, but I've never had a boyfriend end up with his female best friend because I shut it down from the beginning. No hanging out with her without me there, even if 1,000 people will be around and limiting the texting. If I were in your shoes, I would have thrown holy hell when she pulled that birthday shit. I would have shown up, cursed her out, and then partied with my boyfriend. But that would have also never happened to me. And this isn't on you, because if your ex really wanted you there, he would have told you to come and said she didn't invite you. I mean, I'm petty, so I'd probably get him to cheat on her with me, but I am not recommending you do that. Just saying I would, and then let her have him knowing that. Opie says, I used to have an opinion on male-female friendships that was opposite of yours. Now I'm not too sure. And also I'm contemplating my own friendship with my guy friends, but our relationships aren't what I would call best friends. Definitely not as close to my guy friends as I am to my girlfriends in the same friend group. And if one of my guy friends starts dating a new girl, I and the rest of the girls in the friend group make it our personal mission to make sure she's included, and we invite her to all of our girls' nights, etc. So Opie did come in with an update and said, so I received a text from a random number. It was my ex. I blocked his normal number. He basically outlined how he missed me and he had ended things with his best friend. He asked to grab a coffee and talk it out and hopefully reconcile. He said, I didn't realize how much I'd miss you, and I've realized that you're the one for me. I'm so sorry about everything that's happened in the last month. You deserve better, but I'm hoping we can meet up and discuss and move past it. Wow, a whole 3 weeks. I'm genuinely still curious as to why he ended our 2-year relationship for this girl. I knew she was trouble, knew it wouldn't last, but didn't think it would last a measly 3 weeks. I'm fuming. He's essentially asking to get back together after fucking his best friend, and now he has clarity over the situation, and figured out she's not the one he wanted. I still think he's one of the nicest men I've ever met, and fell victim to another girl's manipulation, but fuck him. He's 31 years old, do better. And just a PSA to anyone out there who would contemplate this type of fuckery. Don't. Edit. And that seems weird to say this is the nicest person ever. What I mean is, he's a good person and he massively fucked up. I know he regrets it, as he should, but I wouldn't label him as a cheater or someone who played with my feelings. He got feelings for another girl, contemplated what to do, made a decision, broke up with me, and pursued it. Then figured out it was the wrong decision. Him and I can't get back together because I will never trust him again. He made a decision to leave our relationship. It didn't work out for him with this other girl, but I can't trust that it wouldn't happen again. Simple as that. But I do think he went with his feelings and wasn't trying to deceive me or go around my back to cheat. That's all. And edit 2, no, we didn't get coffee. I told him to fuck off and blocked a new number. Edit 3, and okay, you guys caught me on the discrepancy on the ages. I was trying to switch up the ages in the title to protect anonymity. He's 31, best friend is 30, and I'm actually 28. Keeping the title as is though. Commenter said, quoting, "He said I didn't realize how much I'd miss you and I've realized that you're the one. I'm sorry about that, everything that's happened last month, you deserve better, but I'm hoping we can meet up and discuss and move past it." And then says, "OP, I'm waiting for the part where you laughed in his face and wished him well with his life." Quoting, "I still think he's one of the nicest men I've ever met and fell victim to another girl's manipulation." Then says, "Yes, he fell victim enough to dump you, immediately unzip his pants and stick it into someone else before you had even time to process what was happening. His actions are not the actions of a nice man, and quite frankly, even if he's nice, it unfortunately does not prevent him from being stupid. This guy isn't the guy you want in your life. He threw you away for a grass is greener situation, and is now trying to crawl back to you when he realized it was seasoned with manure. Kick his ass to the curb and live your best life. Also, regarding your previous post, also take his friends. They may be the best part of the 2 years where he wasted your time." Opie says, "Trust me, I didn't entertain the conversation at all. I told him to fuck off and move on. No coffee, no meetup, we were done 3 weeks ago, and we're done now. Moving on. I think he's a great guy, but can't trust him again. Can't be in a relationship with him again. Took the high road again with a quick fuck off and let it be. Sometimes the best revenge is to just let them stew with their mistakes and not give in to the drama." Commenter says, "Sorry, did you say you think he's nice and that he's the victim?" Opie says he's not the victim, but I understand his side and how he felt and how he's confused and broke up with me to pursue someone who he felt he had stronger feelings for. He later found out, fairly quickly, that wasn't the case. I told him I was no longer an option for him and couldn't go back. Listen, shit happens. People's feelings change. He made a decision and it was the wrong one. He has to deal with the consequences. And so do I, unfortunately. But we can't just definitively mark someone as an arsehole, you know. He thought he was doing the right thing by breaking up with me because he had grown feelings for another girl and made me aware that he thought he had figured it out. I'd rather that than be cheated on. But again, it's all subjective. Who knows what the right thing to do would be in that situation. Any way you slice it, people are hurt. A commenter says, "Thank you so much for updating. We should have taken a poll on how long it took him to crawl back. I would have lost though. I thought 3 months, not 3 weeks. I'm so glad you got to tell him to fuck off. I have 2 questions. 1, you said they were posting online about how in love they were. Your ex was posting that too. And 2, did he tell you why he ended it?" Opie says, "I'm not on social media, but my friends told me she was posting about them being in love on Snapchat and Instagram. My ex also isn't on social media." 2, didn't get that far. He asked if we could talk and get coffee. I said no and blocked the number he texted me from. And one more commenter comes in that was downvoted and says, "Well, at the very least he didn't cheat, but nevertheless ended a 2-year relationship just because he suddenly felt something towards his best friend. And instead of trying to work out his feelings, simply went fuck it and dumped you. I'm sure he regrets it. But that's why it's called regret. He'll have to live with the fact that he made a mistake and lost the girl he truly loved. Also, just to make sure, might check and see if the boyfriend won't talk shit about you. Saying that you caused them to break up or something, who knows. Hope that one day the two of you can at least remain friends. That's all up to your feelings, OP. Regardless, I wish you good luck." Opie says, "While I can respect others and their choices, it doesn't mean I have to be around it or entertain it. We will definitely not be friends. He's cut from my life. I won't implicate his actions with my presence." And that's all she wrote. And I'm probably with a lot of the comments on this one that OP probably is being a little too generous to him, honestly, because I'm unsure if he cheated physically or not, but there was certainly the emotional stuff there. And yes, he broke up with her before pursuing the best friend. But let's not pretend he was being noble and, had some thought process behind it either. This wasn't a guy who was working through his confusing feelings. He let his best friend undermine his relationship, dumped his girlfriend of 2 years, and immediately jumped into a relationship with a woman she'd been worried about all along, and then came crawling back 3 weeks later when reality didn't match, the fantasy in his head. However, I do like OP's just fuck off and block method. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah,